For the next few weeks, I'm going to do a series of episodes of the same story. Our family compound. I love this place. It's my slice of heaven. My grandfather bought this property after World War II. He was a sniper in Europe. He believed he would someday be invaded by another country, so he decided our family needed someplace safe. His beliefs were so strong, he trained my father to shoot, and he became a sniper in Vietnam. So it only made sense I would carry on the family tradition in the Middle East. We have the perfect place for survival. We are 53 miles from Portland, 10 miles from any paved road. The cabin is hidden by trees and is well stocked with legal and some illegal weaponry, including ammunition. We have MREs to last years. No wonder I spend so much time here. Since I came home, I come here to relieve stress. I am a loner and only really relax by reliving my sniper days. I wear my ghillie suit and relive my glory days. I got here last night. I sat and watched the northern lights. I thought it was strange because I'd never seen them before. They look like strange glowing gases in the sky. This morning I put on my ghillie suit and went out to relax. I got almost close enough to a deer to touch it. If I was planning on staying longer, I would have shot it for food, but I would be going home tomorrow night. This evening I listened to the radio, made a cheeseburger for dinner, and went to bed feeling much better. I woke sometime during the night to flashes of light. I thought it was lightning, but I didn't hear any thunder. I got up and looked outside. I could see flashes of light over the top of the mountain in the direction of Portland. I thought Portland was getting a good thunderstorm. Since I'm east of Portland, I believed it would have been here soon. I went back to bed not giving it another thought. Sunday morning was beautiful, not a cloud in the sky. It hadn't rained, so the storm must have gone off to the north. I turned on the radio, nothing but static. No big deal, it happens sometimes. I get better reception when there's clouds for the radio waves to bounce off of. I made coffee, a fried egg sandwich, put on my ghillie suit, grabbed my rifle, and I was out the door for another relaxing day playing sniper. After getting into the woods, I was very happy it hadn't rained. Dry grass is much more pleasant to crawl through than wet and mud. There is another cabin about a half mile away through the woods. It hasn't been lived in for years, so I decided to go that far, then make my way back. That should put me back to my place in time to get packed up and get home early enough to catch the Sunday night game. The Hawks were playing, and I didn't want to miss kickoff. It seemed like there was more wildlife out today, so I was going slower than normal. According to the position of the sun, I was probably about 30 minutes behind. That's okay. I love that I was unnoticed by the deer that ran past me. I was getting fairly close to my cabin when I heard something strange. It sounded like scratching on wood. I stopped moving and listened. Nothing but quiet. Then I heard a clicking sound. Almost like something an insect would make, only louder. I listened harder. It was coming from the direction of my cabin. I slowly moved in that direction. I had a strange feeling. As I looked through the trees, I could see that there was something reflecting the sun. It was afternoon, and the trees across the clearing from my cabin had reflected sunlight shining on them. As I got closer, I could see the top of some type of metal object. It looked to be about the size of a bus and was silver, like the dull side of tinfoil. I knew nothing that size could have navigated the road into the property. My Jeep had trouble at times. It didn't have wings or any sign of any form of propulsion. No wheels, windows, or markings. It looked like a giant silver tic-tac with 4 legs. This thing must fly some way. I was looking at it through my scope when I heard the clicking again. I turned my rifle toward the sound. It was coming from the cabin. 2 things appeared from around the back of the cabin. What the heck? They looked like 4-foot-tall spiders. They only had 4 legs and 2 arms like a praying mantis almost. Their bodies were rounded in the front and came to a point at the back. They appeared to have a head above their front legs. It was attached directly to the body without a neck and resembled a motorcycle helmet. no nose or ears, and what appeared to be one large eye. One was black and one was gray. They appeared to be studying my cabin, like they knew someone was supposed to be there. The black one extended an arm. At the end of his arm was a 3-piece claw. When it opened, a small silver ball floated up to about 10 feet. It hovered, spinning for a few seconds. Then it came straight at me. It stopped about 30 feet away and just hovered there. Then it went to the right about 10 feet and then back to the left, like it knew I was somewhere close. I didn't breathe. I was sure they weren't here for a beer. I knew I was in danger. The spiders turned and walked toward me. I was already in a position to drop them, but I waited. The ball moved away from me and returned to the black spider. They both moved closer. I held my breath and slowly squeezed the trigger. Before the firing pin engaged, they stopped. I stopped. I had no idea what they were capable of. I would rather this didn't escalate. I needed to know more before I went too far. They stood there for a full 2 minutes, seemingly looking in my direction. They kept clicking back and forth. This must be their language. I tried to find any kind of pattern so that I could get a sense of what they were trying to say. I still couldn't tell if they were friendlies or not. I still wasn't sure if they knew I was there. For all I knew, they hadn't moved because they knew I had a 7mm pointed at their head, or what I believed to be their head. The black one seemed to be in charge, so he would be first. Their heads then turned in unison, first a little to the right, then slowly back to the left, just like the silver ball had done. I was beginning to think that they may think something wasn't quite right, but they couldn't be sure. The clicking continued. Then they both turned and moved toward the silver object. When they reached the object, they turned back in my direction. They seemed to be scanning the tree line. Since it didn't seem like they were looking directly at me, I was fairly confident they didn't know I was there. They turned back toward the silver object. The gray one touched the black one, and the black one touched the object. They both vanished. I believe they must have gone inside somehow. I didn't see a door of any kind. I stayed totally still. I wasn't sure what had happened. Nothing moved for a very long 12 minutes. Suddenly the object went straight up about 100 feet. It was absolutely quiet. It didn't even stir up any dust or disturb any of the vegetation. It hovered for about 15 seconds, then moved in the direction of the abandoned cabin a half a mile away. I too moved in that direction. I had to see what these things were up to. I had to be very careful. It took me a little time to get there without being detected. When I finally got close enough to see them, their ship was between us. The black spider was just retrieving the silver ball. It looked like they had done the same routine here as they did at my cabin. There were scrape marks in the weathered siding below the windows, and they were clicking back and forth. They approached the ship and entered it the same way. Everything was the same routine. Even the ship landed in the same spot in relation to the cabin. This led me to believe they didn't know I should have been home. They were just scouting in a grid pattern. After they left, I cautiously made my way back to the cabin. I had to make a plan to get someplace where I had cell service. I needed to call my parents and tell them what I saw. Then I would beeline to Portland. I had a strange feeling, no matter how well I planned, I hadn't a clue what I was getting into. If you like this story, please press the like button, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell. I'll have episode 2 next week. Thank you.